Joining me today is UFC lightweight Grant Dawson, who takes on Ricky Glenn at UFC Fight Night on October 23rd. Grant, how's it going?
It's going. Thanks for having me.
Absolutely. And I want to talk to you because I know you moved up to lightweight. And I was wondering, I have to admit that when you moved up to lightweight, I understand the reason why. I totally get it. Obviously, it was a hard cut to 45. But I'm like, man, Grant built so much momentum at featherweight. And lightweight is arguably the most stacked division in the UFC and all of MMA. Is he going to continue that momentum? Is he going to have to start from the beginning? I was wrong. I wondered if you had any worries at all about that you'd have to kind of build everything that you've done in the UFC once again because you're entering such a stacked division?
I think that momentum is momentum, whether it's at one weight class or another. I do think that 55 overall is a much tougher weight class than 145. But if you look at the top three guys at 145, they're just as good, if not better, than most of the guys at 155. I'm here to win a world title, and whether that's at 45, 55, or 70, it doesn't matter to me. I'm around that weight class where there is no easy fight. Whether I go up to 70, whether I go down to 45, or I stay at 55, my path to the title is going to be just as hard no matter what. So, not killing my body and not facing the embarrassment of maybe missing weight again is worth having to fight a couple of tough dudes to get where I want to be anyway.
And I know you had competed at lightweight before. I believe you started your pro MMA career at lightweight. So, any regret not moving up earlier? Like, when did that decision? Was it right after the weight miss? Was it something you were thinking about before? When did that decision to move up to lightweight happen? And would you say it's your permanent home right now? Would you rule out a return to 145?
Um, so when I missed weight against Derek Minner, it was kind of a thing where I told my management that, hey, this isn't going to happen again. If I ever miss weight or if I ever even come close to missing weight again, I will move up to 155, no questions asked. And then I got a fight in Abu Dhabi at a catch weight of 150 pounds. And it was still really, really difficult to make that weight. I made the weight, but it was very, very difficult. And I told them that I do think that 155 is where to go. You know, I still got people that give me crap about missing weight 2 years ago in one fight of my career, and as they should. You know, it was very unprofessional, and I don't want to be unprofessional ever again. As for returning to 145, I will do whatever it takes to win a world title. If I need to, if 155 is not going to happen and 45 is a possibility, I will starve my body and get way thinner if I have to win that belt.
Have you felt the difference of those 10 pounds, or do you feel like 155 is still a bit of a cut for you?
I wouldn't say I'm a small 155er, but I definitely feel the difference to where, not to get too graphic here, but when I cut to 145, my bodily functions don't really work for a good week or so. And at 150, or I'm sorry, at 145. At 155, everything was perfect as soon as I started to rehydrate, and I definitely felt things flowing. If you get my drift, but so I definitely think it's much much healthier. But I don't care about health. I care about world titles. So if 45 is the only option to win a world title, I'll do it. But right now, I can't really see anybody stopping me at 55 yet.
We obviously kicked off the 55 campaign very nicely. And I was wrong about the whole momentum thing because they give you Leonardo Santos, who's no easy task. I mean, it was unbeaten before he fought you with knockout wins over Kevin Lee, Stevie Ray. So when you get a fight like Leonardo Santos, obviously that must have excited you, right?
Yeah, I felt like he had a lot of momentum. You know, he's beaten a lot of big names in the jiu-jitsu world, in the MMA world. He wasn't defeated in the UFC, so I think somebody said somebody's UFCO has got to go, and I thought that was kind of cool too. But he was definitely a big name, definitely a big feather in my cap. The issue is that he didn't have a number next to his name, and only really the hardcore fans knew who he was. So I was kind of hoping for, I almost feel like my clout or whatever you want to call it, my street cred or whatever, goes up for taking an easier fight against like Clay Guida or one of the old veterans that everybody knows over somebody as dangerous as Leonardo Santos. But you get what you get and you don't throw a fit. I beat him, I bonused, and now Rick Glenn is in my sights.
And before we talk about Ricky Glenn, I believe is what he goes by now, but before we talk about Ricky, that fight against Leonardo Santos, I know that infamous kind of corner advice that James Krause gave you. I believe two judges had you up rounds 1 and 2, so I think you were up on the judges' scorecards regardless if that knockout came or didn't. But did you have any idea if you were up or not going into that third round? What was going through your mind when James was talking to you?
I don't argue with my coach. If he says I'm down 2, I'm down 2. If I'm up 2, I'm up 2. He asks me to do something, and I do it. I personally had it 1-1 going into the third, if not 2-0 for me. So when I did get that early takedown, I wanted to make sure that I won the round before something crazy happened, and risk him getting back to his feet and maybe something crazy happening in his direction. So I definitely took it a little bit slower than he wanted, but I'm very aware of what's going on in there, and I'm very aware of what's like how much time is left, how much has gone by. I do rounds every single day, so I'm very good at feeling how long the round has kind of been going. So I knew when I had to go and when to win the round before winning the fight, if that makes sense. But yeah, James is always right. He said to get the finish, and I did everything in my power to get the finish.
Did you know it was practically going to be a buzzer beater? I know they do that 10-second clap thing, and you say you're pretty aware in there. Did you know that literally time was winding down like that?
Well, like I said, I thought it was 1-1, so I knew I had it in the bag. And then he went for my leg, and as he was on my leg, I had a split-second thought where, do I pull my leg out and stay safe, or do I leave my leg in and go for this finish that I might not get? And I told myself, and this all happened in a split second, I told myself, there's no amount of damage that he can do to my leg that'll get me to tap before the buzzer runs out. So even if I'm out for a couple of months or even a year, he's not going to win this fight with this leg. So I'm going to stay in and I'm going to take the risk. And I'm a big believer in high risk, high reward. And that's what happened. High risk, high reward. I stayed in. I let him yank on my leg, and I took his consciousness and his first UFC O, I guess it would be.
Yeah, it was of course a spectacular win, and off of that you get Diego Ferreira. I know obviously he was forced to withdraw, but what was your reaction kind of when he had to withdraw and you get Ricky? Because I know you finally got that ranked opponent you were looking for, so I'm pretty sure you were disappointed.
Yeah, it's heartbreaking. I've worked so hard and I've fought so long, and I've been in the UFC for a little while now. I was one of the contestants on the very first season of the Contender Series. I think I'm the only contestant on the first 3 seasons to continue or to still be undefeated from the Contender Series. I feel like a lot of guys are getting more hype than me, and some of them rightfully so. Like Sean O'Malley, he's an entertainer. He's a great striker. He definitely should be getting the hype. I feel like a lot of the guys from the first season are either ranked or gone, and I feel like I'm kind of in that mid-range where I'm undefeated. I've beaten everybody they put in front of me. I finished all of them but 2, and so, you know, it is what it is. I understand that things happen in this game. I understand that, you know, the moment I start criticizing Diego for getting injured, I'm going to deal with an injury. The moment I start criticizing so-and-so for whatever, it's going to happen. So, you know, it is what it is. I roll with the punches and we move on.
Yeah. Well, O'Malley is undefeated, right? No, I'm kidding. But was there any chance that this fight with Diego gets rebooked, or was his injury going to take too long for you to wait?
So they were originally going to rebook us for November 13th. And then Diego said that he needed more time and said that he would like the fight in December. I can't wait till December. I've got puppies to feed. I've got a girlfriend. I just bought a new house. I need to fight. And also, I want to stay active. I like fighting. I enjoy fighting, and I want to fight. Barring no injuries against Richard Glenn, I'm going to call out Diego for December immediately. As far as I know, he's still interested in the fight. I'm still interested in the fight. And when you have 2 contestants that are interested in the fight, there's really no reason not to make it. So my thought process is I beat Richard, and then I call out Diego, and I get Diego in December.
I like that plan. And I wanted to ask you about activity, because I think you fought twice a year kind of the past few years. And then obviously there was the circumstances out of your hand that forced you to kind of be sidelined for a bit. So is that something that's on your mind constantly, like ramping up the activity as much as you can?
Yeah, I've wanted to be active. I want 3, 4, 5 fights a year. Ever since I started fighting, I love fighting. I've had 7 fights in 1 year before I was in the UFC, and I love that activity. The issue was being at 145. I needed 8 to 18 weeks to make weight, and so fighting that often just wasn't an option because I can't make the weight. Like it would be impossible. And then moving up to 155. I thought I was going to be able to fight more, but with the pandemic going on and everybody needs fights, I completely understand. But definitely staying more active. I've had 2 fights a year since being in the UFC, and my goal is to get 3 fights this year. I'm not leaving Vegas until Dana and I can talk about me fighting in December, because I definitely want to fight one more time this year after I fight Richard.
Sounds like a plan. Let's talk about Ricky Glenn. I know he's not perhaps the name that Diego Ferreira is, or the ranked opponent, but he is a tough guy. I recall his upset win over Gavin Tucker. He's coming off of a knockout win over Joaquim Silva. I think that was his last fight. So what do you make of Ricky, and how do you see this fight playing out?
He's one of those guys that you can't underestimate. I'm a huge fan of Gavin Tucker. I think Gavin Tucker is one of the best dudes in the division. I know he's kind of coming off of a loss against another very good fighter in Dan Ige. I thought that he let the hype get to him against Ricky. I think that he fought stupidly. I definitely think that he's the better fighter, but it is what it is. I've got the opponent. We have a saying in our gym: you can disrespect the opponent, but never disrespect the game, or the game will disrespect you. And so I'm definitely going into this fight hands up, chin down, but I know I'm the better fighter, and that's okay, because I know I'm a better fighter than everybody. I'm gonna put my elbow on him. I'm gonna take him down. I'm gonna beat him up, and he can either give up or take an ass whooping for 15 minutes.
And before I let you go, and I appreciate your time, I wanted to ask you about this, because I see you doing a lot of kind of mentoring and coaching younger guys at the gym. I see you in a lot of their corners, and I want to give a shout out to your YouTube channel as well. That's actually been really enjoyable. It's very well done. So I urge fans to check that out, and I'll let you plug that in a minute. And I know you've been kind of shedding light on some of the younger fighters as well, other than your training camps. What's that been like, kind of, because you're a young guy, you're relatively kind of young in this sport, but you're getting to be a mentor and a coach, cornering a lot of these guys. So what's that been like, having that role?
Man, it's great. And I definitely recommend, everybody can't be a coach, but I definitely recommend that if you want to get better at fighting, unless you're brand spanking new, help other people, because when you help other people and you answer those questions, you you got to ask yourself those questions. Why do I do this? Why do I go from here to here? Why do I like the neck here? Why don't I go from here? So it's definitely helped me a bunch. And also the relationship that you get with these guys, training with them every single day. We fight each other every single day. When I win, they win. When they win, I win. So how can you not create this type of relationship with these guys, where you just want to be in their corner and help them, and continually grow with them? My main man, Muhammad Zwolak, he just fought. I've been with him since day one. He didn't have a wrestling background. He didn't have a striking background. He came in just to MMA when he was but a small boy, and I've been with him the whole time. Now he's just won his first professional fight, and I'm so happy and excited for him. And he's definitely somebody that I think is going to be in the UFC someday. And I got plenty more: Cameron Cash, Devin Weber, all these guys that I'm helping out, and they're helping me just as much. When they win, I win, and that feeling is just so great. And I highly recommend that fighters trying to go to that next level help people, help other people. It really brings you up. Also, thank you for mentioning my YouTube channel. I appreciate it. I put a lot of time into those videos.
No, they're awesome. I was saying, because I was checking them out. I always check them out. I was looking at them a while back, and I'm like, these are really well done, and it's a nice kind of inside look. What is the name of the channel exactly, so people can check it out?
It's called KGD Dash TV, and we follow my camps. We didn't get to follow this camp because of all of the hullabaloo that's going on with the change, and then my camera guy actually had some stuff come up with work. So, but next camp we will, and we also like to follow those guys that you're talking about that I like to help out. Follow them around and kind of see what they're doing. It's really cool because you can see amateur fighters and low-level pros train like they're UFC fighters. And I think with the way the sport is going nowadays, that's what it takes to get to the next level. Training like a UFC fighter when you're not a UFC fighter.
For sure. It's an awesome thing, kind of paying it forward, kind of what James Krause is doing. So it's pretty cool to see you kind of following his footsteps in a way as well.
Yeah, I'm trying to be like James, man. He seems to got it all figured out, you know, whether it's the business side or the fighting side. He's got it made. So and then he's self-made. So that's so inspiring to me, and I'm trying to be like him every day.
How did you meet James, by the way? How did you end up kind of training with James?
So I lived in Lincoln, Nebraska when I was a amateur, and about a week before my pro debut, or about 2 weeks before my pro debut, my manager at the time called me and said if I wanted to move up into a fight house in Lee Summit, Missouri. And we were talking about moving to a bigger gym, moving out of the state, and training with some higher level guys. Because the gym that I was at was great, but they didn't have any UFC fighters. And I'm a firm believer that NFL players don't practice with high schoolers. NFL players practice with other NFL players. So if you want to be in the UFC, you got to find UFC fighters to train with. And he was one of them, and he had an opening in his fight house. So I moved up there about 2 weeks before my pro debut, came back, fought in my pro debut, and have been with him ever since. So it's all worked out. And the thing that I love about where we're at and what we have right now is it's a big gym, but it's got a small gym feel where we all kind of feel like family. There are cliques and stuff like that, but all the cliques kind of respect each other and love each other, and we're all just there to get better every single day. And you know, nobody moves to Missouri for the weather, that's for sure. So it's really cool seeing all these UFC fighters. I think we got 14 UFC fighters now coming in and doing their camps and training with us, and it's really something special.
For sure, it's become one of my kind of my favorite coach fighter duels. Although you're becoming a coach yourself, or you're a coach yourself, so hopefully we're gonna see that with you and some of the younger guys making it to the UFC. Grant, I want to thank you so much for your time. I appreciate you doing this, and best of luck on October 23rd.
Thank you so much for having me, guys.